Most men think attraction is about doing more. More moves, more effort, more intensity. But what if I told you, the moment a woman truly starts feeling something isn't when you do more. It's when you finally slow down enough for her to feel you. Because attraction doesn't build in speed. It builds in awareness. And this is exactly where most men completely miss it. They focus on the action, but they ignore the feeling behind it. And when it comes to something as simple as your fingers, what you do matters far less than how you do it. Because to her, your touch isn't just physical. It's emotional information. It tells her if you're nervous, if you're confident, if you're present, or if you're just trying to get somewhere. And she feels all of that instantly. You might think she's reacting to what you're doing, but she's actually reacting to what it means. And that's the difference between a moment that feels forgettable and one she keeps thinking about later. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most men rush into touch like they're trying to prove something. They think faster means better. They think more intensity creates more attraction. But from her perspective, that often feels like pressure. And pressure kills emotional connection. Because when a woman feels rushed, her mind doesn't open. It starts analyzing, questioning, pulling back. But when your touch is calm, intentional, and aware, something shifts. She stops thinking and starts feeling. And that's where real attraction begins. Because women don't respond to touch the way men expect. They respond to the emotion behind it. And this is why your fingers, something so small, can completely change the way she experiences you. Not because of what you're doing, but because of how safe, how understood, and how connected she feels in that moment. Now, let me take you a little deeper into this. There's a subtle difference between touching a woman and connecting with her through touch. And most men never learn that difference. Touching is mechanical. It's action without awareness.
But connection?
Connection is when your attention is fully there. When you're not thinking about the next step. When you're not trying to impress her. When you're simply present with her. And your fingers become an extension of that presence. Because what she's really feeling isn't just your touch. She's feeling your intention. And intention is something women read incredibly well. Better than you think. If your touch feels impatient, she senses it. If it feels unsure, she notices it. If it feels disconnected, she pulls away emotionally, even if she doesn't show it physically. But when your touch feels calm, grounded, and confident, she leans into it, not because you forced anything, but because she feels something real. And this is the part most men overlook. Attraction isn't created by pushing forward. It's created by creating space for her to come closer. And your finger, believe it or not, they can either create that space or completely destroy it because they reveal something about you. They show her whether you're trying to take or trying to understand. And women respond very differently to those two energies. Now, here's something you've probably seen before, but never really understood. There are moments when a woman doesn't pull away. She doesn't stop you, but she also doesn't lean in. She just stays neutral. And most men misread this completely. They assume neutral means okay, but in reality, neutral often means she's unsure. She's waiting. She's feeling you out emotionally. And this is where your awareness becomes everything. Because if you keep moving forward without noticing her energy, you lose her, not physically, but emotionally. And once that emotional connection drops, attraction follows it. But if you slow down in that moment, if you pay attention, if you adjust based on her response, something powerful happens. She feels seen. And being seen is one of the strongest emotional triggers for attraction because most women aren't used to it. They're used to men focusing on what they want, not how she feels. So when you become the man who actually notices, who adjusts, who responds, you instantly stand out. And this is where your fingers become more than just touch. They become communication. They say, I'm paying attention to you. I feel you. I'm not rushing you. And that changes everything because attraction grows in comfort, not pressure. And this is also why rhythm matters more than intensity. Fast movements often feel disconnected, like you're trying to get somewhere. But slower, intentional movement feels like you're actually there with her. And that creates emotional tension, the kind that builds naturally instead of being forced. Because tension, real tension, isn't about speed. It's about anticipation. It's about the feeling that something is building without being rushed. And women are incredibly responsive to that. They feel it in subtle ways, in pauses, in hesitation, in the moments where you don't rush to the next step. And ironically, those moments are the ones that create the strongest reactions. Not because you did more, but because you allowed the moment to breathe. Now here's something deeper. Your fingers don't just create sensation, they create emotional signals. And those signals tell her if she can relax or if she needs to stay guarded. If your touch feels predictable, she gets bored. If it feels chaotic, she gets uncomfortable. But when it feels intentional, calm, and slightly unpredictable, she gets curious. And curiosity is one of the strongest drivers of attraction. Because when she doesn't fully know what you're going to do next, but she feels safe with you, her mind opens, her attention stays, her emotional investment grows. And this is where most men completely lose the opportunity. They become too focused on doing the right thing, instead of being in the moment. But the truth is, there is no perfect move. There is only presence, because presence is what allows you to feel her response. And when you feel her response, you naturally know what to do next. Not because you memorized something, but because you're actually connected. And that connection is what she remembers. Not the exact movement, not the specific action, but the way it felt, the way you made her feel. And this is why some men do very little and still create strong attraction, while others do everything and still feel forgettable. Because one is focused on connection and the other is focused on performance. And women can feel that difference immediately. Now, let me say something that might change the way you see this completely. The goal is not to impress her. The goal is to understand her. Because when a woman feels understood, attraction becomes natural, effortless, real, and your fingers, in a very subtle way, can either show her that you're trying to understand or that you're just trying to take, and she will respond accordingly. So the next time you're in that moment, don't think about what you should do. Think about what she's feeling. Pay attention to her reactions, her breathing, her body language, her energy, because she's telling you everything, without saying a word. And if you learn to read that, if you learn to respond instead of react, you'll notice something shift. She'll start leaning in more, not physically at first, but emotionally. And once that happens, everything else follows naturally. Because attraction, real attraction, is never forced, it's felt. And the men who understand this are the ones women remember. Not because they did something extreme, but because they made her feel something real. So if there's one thing I want you to take from this, it's this: slow down, pay attention, be present. Because what feels small to you can feel incredibly meaningful to her. And what you think is just a simple touch might actually be the moment she decides how she feels about you. And trust me, those are the moments that matter most. So now I'm curious, have you ever noticed a moment like this where her reaction told you more than her words ever did? Or maybe you missed it at the time, but now it makes sense. Tell me in the comments. I read more than you think. And if you want to understand women on a deeper level, the kind most men never reach, stay close, because there's a lot more you haven't been told yet.